Gordon Smith here from ALTA Consulting and Rennie Colelli from Blanc. We wanted to chat a little about a really interesting transformation your business has gone through over the last couple of years. So maybe we open and just tell us a little bit about Blanc and what you do.
Sure. And the last couple of years have definitely been interesting. So Blanc is an event production company who supports customers in creating event magic. So basically, we put the wow into the events. So when you're walking into a room or when you're leaving and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing, that's what our team does here.
So that's really interesting, Rennie. Maybe you can wind the clock back a little bit and talk about how the pandemic impacted your business.
Sure. It's actually an interesting story because, you know, we had heard about COVID coming like December, January, February, but it seems so far away from us. But I remember the day specifically, which was March the 12th. And I was actually out of the country, and we found out the NBA had gotten canceled, the NHL playoffs had gotten canceled, or the last seasons of the game had gotten canceled. And my phone, I just started blowing up with messages of event cancellations on the corporate side of our business. And it's like, there goes a $100,000 job, there goes a $150,000 job, and they were like all dropping like flies. So we went from lots of revenue to zero very quickly. From March 12th, I remember that like yesterday.
Yeah, you're probably trying to forget it, but that's okay, yeah.
I'm trying not to forget it, but it's ingrained in my soul that day.
Yeah. So what was April like? Like, you went through that period in March. What was April like?
Yeah, so we had to react very quickly. So basically March 12th was a Thursday, and by Friday we had decided, we'd gotten so many cancellations, we decided to lay off all our hourly staff, temporarily lay them off, just so we can catch our breath and figure it out what was going on. And we figured we would hold on to our full-time staff a little bit longer. Then within 7 days, we realized this was going to be pretty bad. And we laid off all our salaried staff, and then all our leadership team took a pay cut, and about 10 of us stayed on. So we went from about 70 to 10 in 14 days. And by the time April rolled around, our revenue went to zero.
Wow. So you're at zero. You have no revenue. What kind of things did you try?
Actually, there's more to the story.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you. On March the 6th, we began moving into our new facility here. So we went from 15,000 square feet to 45,000 square feet. And the first day we were going to welcome all our staff here was March 23rd, 2020. Yeah. And that was the day that the official emergency order went into effect. And there was a full lockdown in Ontario and most of the country. So talk about layers of complexity.
Yeah. So what did you try? Like, you're there, it's April, you have no revenue, you have this big facility. What kind of things did you try?
Well, like in the beginning, we were communicating a lot with the leadership team just to try to catch our bearing, staying on top of the news and world events, and trying to figure out if this was like a short term or a long term. I spent a lot of lonely days walking around this big place by myself, and we learned how to use Zoom and Teams very quickly. So basically, we're just trying to figure out what the next steps were. Like, our company was totally blindsided. Our industry was totally blindsided. Like, anything to do with events and people gathering basically was non-existent, as you probably remember.
Yeah.
You never had so many family dinners and played board games since your kids were little, and the same happened for myself. And on a business level, we just tried to stay positive, and we tried to keep communicating with our staff and our customers, and we're just trying to figure out what the next steps were. Like everyone else, we were totally like deer in the headlights. We had no idea what was coming and how fast it was going to change.
Yeah, interesting. So did you have any like big pivots, like something you're going around this direction and went in a completely separate direction?
You know what? We weren't lucky enough to have things happen quickly. So what happened from like March 12th, that steady decline to zero, kind of stuck with us. And I think we made our first dollars in July or August. And those were just kind of random rentals to people who were, moving to do things in in their own facilities. So we supported some of our clients with that. But I would say for a good 4, 5, 6 months, we were not doing much. But after about 3 months of mulling over and trying to figure things out, we did come up with the concept of building a studio here. One of the worst things that happened to us is we had moved in the beginning of the pandemic, but it actually turned out to be one of the best things that happened for us because we had so much space available, so we were able to flex our creative muscles, and we ended up building a beautiful studio. And that studio eventually, a year later, won the top studio in Canada. And it was kind of instrumental in supporting a lot of our existing customers and supporting a lot of new customers that were looking for a way to keep communicating and keep doing business during the pandemic. It was interesting because in the pandemic, we had two types of clients. People that, could pause and wait, and people that had to continue doing business, right? Everybody wasn't affected negatively in the pandemic. Like we had one customer who was in consumer products, and it was like home renovations, and their business actually tripled during the pandemic because everybody started fixing their home and stuff, right? So they had to figure out ways to keep communicating with their sales teams and, getting their products out and stuff. So there was some silver linings in all of this.
Okay, good. We're in the studio. Tell us about your studio. What type of events do you have here? What kind of things are possible?
Sure. The studio we're sitting in today is actually V3. So we had started with the first version. We had, after about 6 months of using it, we had, I would say, enhanced it to better serve our clients' needs. And after about a year and a half, I would say, we rebuilt it to what you see here. So this studio supports clients who were, let's say, pre-pandemic, like, putting people on planes, flying them all over North America, hundreds, even thousands of people. And they had to figure out a way to keep communicating with their clients at a high level. What we found is, these customers of ours and customers in general that love the studio, they were doing high-level events, and you couldn't go from a high-level event in 2019 to like a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the same impact. So the purpose of building this studio was to give our clients a tool to keep communicating at a high level with their attendees and customers.
Okay, good. And any lessons learned from your pivot that you'd like to share with entrepreneurs? You've been an entrepreneur for years and lots of success. What would you leave with other entrepreneurs, even if they're not in the entertainment industry, just in general? What did you take away? Because it was a pretty severe kind of transition.
The one thing I would share with other entrepreneurs is like, and this has been kind of my approach through my whole business career. If you're gonna do it, like, you do it.
Yeah.
Like,
go big or go home. Yeah.
Like we noticed, like when the people started building studios, like we're not the only studio in town. A lot of our competitors build studios as well, but theirs were always kind of like a makeshift, a temporary solution. What I feel is like our team, we were able to put together a solution that was far superior to anything that was out there. So if you're gonna do it, go for it. Don't hold back, because the right customers will appreciate it. And I would say also, in doing that, we were able to attract customers that we had been chasing for years. That never gave us a chance because we were always kind of the new kid on the block. BB Blanc's relatively new company in the corporate market. And usually when people settle in with a good supplier or vendor, unless they make a mistake, it's hard to get in the door. But what we found through the pandemic with our studio and our unique offering, that had people coming knocking on our door for a new unique solution.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the couple things that jump out at me, having worked with you for a while, is resiliency and patience kind of came through in your transition. And I'll never forget.
Me?
Yeah. I'll never forget something you said to me. You said, I called you kind of maybe a year after had been working with you guys, and you said, Gord, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And right now, I am a beast.
Yeah.
So that really kind of resonated with me. So congrats on the
Thank you.
on the pivot.
Thank you. When you take so many shots, you don't get scared too easy after.
Yeah.
So it's definitely put us in a good position. And coming out of the pandemic, both myself and I know my team, they feel really good about the future. We do have other challenges right now, but we feel confident we could overcome them as things keep going. So
Yeah, if you can overcome that, you can overcome anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Rennie.
thank you, Gord.